Hi friends, welcome back to Table Full of Joy. I'm Cheryl and we are back in the kitchen today. We are making a classic Christmas recipe, fantasy fudge. Does anybody remember that? My whole family made fantasy fudge and it was the best thing ever. So we are going to start off with our 9x13 glass pan. You can spray this and then put the fudge directly in it if you want to. That works. That's the way we always did it. But I'm going to do some parchment paper in here because that's going to make it a whole lot easier for me to just grab the sides of it, lift it right out of the pan, lay it on the cutting board and cut it right on the parchment paper, and then I don't have to deal with trying to scoop out each piece. You know how sometimes you try to get those ones in the corner, they just don't come out beautiful? This way you're going to have beautiful pieces all the way around. So we're just going to use a little bit of a neutral oil, get it sprayed nice and well. And then we're just going to take our parchment paper. This oil is going to help this parchment paper stick to the pan. We're just going to roll our sides down so we end up with a nice flat surface to put our fudge in as soon as it's ready. So this is the 5-minute fudge that uses the marshmallow cream. So we're going to start off with our pan. We're going to do our 2/3 of a cup of evaporated milk, not sweetened condensed milk, evaporated milk. We're going to do our 3/4 of a cup of butter. Let's get this out of the package. So we've got our 1.5 sticks is 3/4 of a cup. So we're going to put those in our pot. And we have 3 cups of sugar, just plain granulated sugar. All right, so we have those ready to go. So we're going to turn our heat on medium, and we are going to stir this continuously so that we don't burn our sugar. We want to keep mixing this. As soon as this comes to a boil on medium heat, then we are going to boil this for exactly 5 minutes. That's why they call it 5-minute fudge. You boil this exactly 5 minutes. Then we're going to take it off the heat. We're going to put in our vanilla. We're going to put in our chocolate chips and our marshmallow cream. And we're going to mix it. And we're going to pour it into our pan. And we're going to be ready to go. This just needs to set up. Usually takes several hours for it to completely set up before you want to take it out of here and cut it and then be able to put it in your gift boxes, your platters, whatever it is you're doing with your fudge. So we're going to let our milk, sugar, and butter melt, and then we'll get these things added to it. Our butter, evaporated milk, and sugar is all dissolved. So we just need to keep stirring this. It's going to come to a boil. We're starting to get a few little bubbles around the edges already, so those will turn into a full rolling boil here in just a couple minutes. But you can see how thick. This just looks so tasty. So it's going to come to a boil, and then we are going to let it boil for 5 minutes. All right, so this just came to a boil, so we are going to get our timer set for 5 minutes. We're going to stir this the entire time that it's boiling for that 5 minutes. This is what's going to help our sugar set up, and then we're going to put in our chocolate chips, our vanilla, and our marshmallow cream. This was always one of my favorite candies that my grandmother made. My favorite memory, she used to have one of these beautiful pedestal candy stands, little plate that she would put her fudge on. Every year it was the same plate. It had to be that plate for her fudge. And my grandmother was always so funny. She never would get the marshmallow cream mixed all the way in, so you'd wind up with swirls of marshmallow throughout the fudge. And that was always my favorite pieces, were the ones that had the little bit of marshmallow that didn't get all the way mixed in. So when she'd get these all on the stand, I was the one that would go around and look at all the different pieces, and I would look for the ones that still had marshmallow swirl in them because I thought those were the most special pieces. My grandmother used to get a kick out of it. So sometimes when I mix my marshmallow cream in, just because that was how my grandmother did it, I don't always get it all the way mixed in, but it's totally fine. It doesn't hurt it. It's still going to be delicious. It's still going to be set up correctly. It's not going to hurt it. Sometimes I get it all mixed in, sometimes I don't. It just depends if I'm in a real big hurry. But I love that this fudge is so easy. It is an absolute classic from my childhood. I make this every year. It brings back so many good memories of my grandmother and my aunt. This is just one of my favorites to do every year at Christmas. So we are at just about 3 minutes now. We have about 3 minutes left of stirring this continuously. And then I think when I get to the point to add these things in, I'm going to have my husband come in and stir this pot for me so that I can mix the other, or I can get the things in and he can keep stirring it for me, because I don't want to walk away from this, or I don't want to leave it in the pan while I'm trying to get things added to it. So I think I'll probably have him come in and help me do that. It's a good thing that he took some vacation days and he's going to be home with me for the next couple days so that we can finish all of this holiday baking. We still have a lot of stuff to do. So I will be sharing all of those videos with you guys. They're all going to be in a link together for you guys. All the Christmas goodies will be together. So you can just kind of skim through the playlist and you can look at them and figure out which ones you would like to watch and make yourself. But this is still a classic. This is one of those, I think everybody's grandmother in the 70s and 80s made the marshmallow 5-minute fudge. It's just such a super easy recipe. I find it funny though, I was doing some research for this. It's funny, they don't put the recipe on the bottle of marshmallow cream anymore, which I think is weird. They always have had it on there, but they don't have it on there anymore. So I went online to look for it, and when I found it, there's some posts on there that say that this one I'm doing right now is the original 5-minute fudge recipe, but there is another one that ended up on a marshmallow container that is not the same as this one. So I made sure that the recipe that I found was the 5-minute fudge that I remember as a kid. So I will put that recipe link in the description for you so that you guys will have it. We are now at 1 minute and 20 seconds. So we're getting close to mixing all of these things in here. And like I said, you want to do it off the heat. You don't want to do this on the heat because your sugar will burn if you do it on the heat directly. So we're just going to do it, we're going to move our pot over to a cutting board and we're going to get our stuff mixed in over there. So we are almost there. This is looking super, super thick. Again, this is a warning for you guys. This is scalding hot sugar. Make sure that when you're doing these recipes with hot sugar in them, that you have your handles turned away from the front of the stove in case you've got small children that are running around. We would hate for somebody to get burned. These sugar burns are horrible and I would not wish that on anybody. So just make sure that you're being extra, extra careful when you are cooking with really hot sugar. All right, so we are at about 20 seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and kill my heat. We have enough residual heat here to keep it boiling for that last 15 seconds. And we're gonna get ready to put all of our stuff in. All right, so our sugar is all melted. I'm gonna have my husband keep stirring this. We are gonna put in our little bit of vanilla. And this, when you put vanilla in something scalding hot like this, the alcohol that's in vanilla will react with it and it will make it bubble up. So be really careful. Make sure that you're using a pot that's the correct size too, because if your pot is not the correct size and all of this bubbles up, you are going to have a mess all over the place. And I will tell you, I've had this from experience, so be very careful. So now we're going to get our marshmallow cream put in here. We're going to get this all stirred up. I remember as a kid, my favorite thing when Grandma was making fudge was I loved to lick the jar of marshmallow cream. That was always my treat while she was making the fudge. It was the thing she would give me so that I would stay back while she was finishing the fudge, so I would keep my fingers out of it. Because let's face it, who doesn't love fudge? Okay, we've almost got this all out. I think it's interesting too that they've switched these containers to plastic instead of glass. I remember when I was a kid, the marshmallow cream always came in a glass jar, and my grandmother always kept the glass jar. She would use it to store things in it. If my grandfather didn't grab a hold of it before she did, he would take it out to the garage and use it to store stuff. Okay, we've got all of our stuff in. I'm gonna wash my hands real quick. All right, I will rescue my husband now. And we're gonna give this a really, really good. We need to get that chocolate in there. We've got chocolate around the corner, so make sure you go around all of your edges. This just looks super good. Scrape our edges, make sure we get all of our marshmallow off, our chocolate. Just like that. That looks, let's go around our edge real quick, just make sure we have everything off. That looks perfect. All right, so like I said, we have our pan here. We're trying something new with the parchment paper this year to make it super easy to pull this out of the pan and be able to have beautiful squares instead of trying to dig them out. This was another thing that all of us grandkids would fight over, was the pot. If we could manage to get past my grandfather, we would fight for the leftover fudge in the pan. It was always another special treat. All right, so we've got this all. We still have a little bit of marshmallows, but it's totally, I'm not gonna worry about it. It looks beautiful. So this is now going to set up at room temperature. And then after it sets up and cools, we'll be able to just take our parchment paper, lift it right out of the pan, and be able to cut this into some beautiful squares. It'll be ready for our goodie boxes. The other thing with this fudge, you can put nuts in it if you want to. I do sometimes I don't. This time I didn't. It just wasn't something that was on my radar to put nuts in it, so I just left them out. We've got a lot of nuts going on with different things this holiday season, so I'm just gonna use this one without nuts. So we're gonna let it chill, and then we will show you how easy this is to pull it out of our pan and get this cut into squares. Hi friends, so we are back with our 5-minute fudge that we did yesterday. We put this in the refrigerator to let it set up overnight. This time we did parchment paper in our pan just to make it easy for us to pull this out, not have to worry about those funky edges. Give my hands a quick wipe. It has a little bit of oil down there where we greased our parchment paper. So we're gonna pull the parchment paper out. All we have to do is unfold it, and we're gonna come right in here with our knife, and we're gonna cut this into some beautiful little pieces. We want nice, pretty squares. We don't want people fighting over somebody getting the biggest piece. We want all of our pieces to be equal, so everybody gets the same. This just cuts so easy. I absolutely love this 5-minute fudge, and I'm seeing a couple of little pieces in here. Like I was telling you, when we made this, my grandmother would leave a little bit of the marshmallow not completely mixed in. Those were always my favorite pieces. And I see a couple of those right here in the center, but I think I'm gonna resist. I'm kind of on sugar overload right now. I've been doing a whole lot of baking, and so I've been sampling, and I think I will hold off on doing that. But we're just gonna cut these into some cute little squares that will go into our boxes. These are gonna look super cute. Make sure they're nice and even. And here is our fudge. Our beautiful little 5-minute fudge, all ready for our holiday boxes. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me in my kitchen this week as we did some holiday baking. I hope that you'll join me again. If you found value in this video, please give it a like and a subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the fun things we're going to be doing We have some exciting things coming up after the first of the year. I'm excited to share those with you guys after the first of the year. So I hope you guys will try this recipe. If you've had 5-minute fudge before, if you have a special memory with it, please share me in the comments because I want to hear what your special memories are. I shared mine with you yesterday. Hope you'll share yours with me, and hope you guys all have a Merry Christmas. Thanks, friends.